I'm out here, back, see everybody come through, see everybody want to talk, see what's up. I just got through doing my videos. They'll be online. I had a nice array of conversations. I was talking about Rasheed Wallace's video when he came out downplaying Michael Jordan's defense. And I don't know. The Scottie Pippen Slurp Fest cracks me up. I like Sheed. I roll with Sheed. She's one of the few former players that usually I listen to him in depth, but this hating on Jordan thing, this about Jordan's defense. What's up? What's up? I can't clap to that. And I love Sheed too. I be rolling with Sheed, but him there talking about Jordan was overrated on defense. I'm like, what you smoking? What you talking about? What you talking about? Sheed can't give it. And then the other thing for me was Usher on Club Shay Shay talking about doing the Super Bowl is his Michael Jackson moment. I'm like, dude, you've been a broke Junior Whopper Michael Jackson for like 30, 60, 80 years. It's not like you exactly doing something different. So, eh, eh. So, you know, he remembers, he played with Scotty. Scotty took him under his wings. And the thing about it is that tissue paper, that's what I call Scotty, if you must know. It's called Scotty Tissue because he be crying. I said that back then when he played with Jordan because he used to cry. I said, oh, Scotty Tissue. Oh, Tissue fooled around. And again, if they beat the Lakers with Shaq, Phil, and when Kobe was on the cover of the 67 win team, and he goes and beats the Pacers, he looks great. History will say, okay, we'll debate you, top 5, 6. You deserve that argument. But they blew a 15-point lead in LA on the road. And everybody remembers Kobe lobbing that ball and Shaq dunking it and jumping for joy. And it came from behind. And it was never the same for Scotty again. That was the end of his reign. End of it. And Portland was never the same again. Okay. So let's not go there and pretend that that didn't happen. Let's not pretend that that didn't happen. So, you know, he usually was she, and he didn't say the stuff about the Pistons being very talented and imposing their will on the league. And I kind of let that slide because they did get to all the Eastern Conference finals. I will give them that. They did get to 2 finals. They won one. They lost like 7 to the Spurs. I'll give you that. Okay. Yeah, you know what? That one hurts me because I'm gonna tell you like this. He was good enough, not that he could check Shaq per se, but he could go out there against Shaq, and he could go out against your 2 guard. He was versatile on the top of the key in the box. Problem with him is he did kind of have that if I feel like it. It's almost like he deferred from being a better player than he was. That's why he's not mentioned with Garnett. That's why he's not mentioned with Dirk or Karl Malone or some other P4s because he kind of did have that if I feel like it. And I hate to say that because that's one of them dudes that's dear to me. Like I love she, but I can't argue. You're right. Because that's why his behind got traded to the Atlanta Hawks. And that was a joke. That was Saudi Arabia before Detroit picked him up. You're exactly right. He did. He do fall into that category because he should have been so much better. We should be talking about him as a borderline of Hall of Famer. And I'm gonna tell you something. Maybe the reason why David Stern hated on him was because he played half-hearted sometimes. Like he didn't really propel because he had the skill set. If we're gonna be honest about Rasheed Wallace, he could defend on the top to the box. He could shoot from the top and post to the box. He's one of them cases of a guy that should have had a Hall of Fame career. And he had the goods as a talent because he was like broke Charles Barkley in a way that he could versatile. Like Barkley get out there, you know, but he just was half-timey with some of his ways, and sometimes he was half-timey. That's how you end up getting traded. I like Bonzi, but yeah, Dame Stoudemire. Yeah, and you know what? She got mad with Bill Walton for saying Jailblazers because they blazed up and got high, but I'm like, y'all did underachieve. I mean, y'all were taking the Lakers to 7 games with Shaq was in his prime peak beasting mode with Phil and Kobe on the come up with Glenn Rice. So yeah, you did underachieve. You did joke around and play around. Cause why did y'all fall off the next year and go get Sean Kemp and he was bigger than the Pillsbury Doughboy times three? What happened? Y'all got Kemp looking like the black Pillsbury Doughboy. And I like Kemp a lot when he was the Rain Man before he became Doughboy. But let's be real. That was an underachieving team. And he was. I'm glad I'm glad I set this off here. And I really because I had to sit there and do that, drop that video, it'll be out in a few hours. And I'm looking at she like, I don't want to come at she because I'm big on she, and I like the way he talk because he ain't lying about David Stern's corruptness and the refs and the other stuff and all that stuff he be hitting on, right? However, you can't come out and say Michael Jordan was a buster on defense. And then of course, when I look at your track record, you kind of when you felt like it. I can't clap for that. So they were. There's no lie with that. They did underachieve. Because Damien to me was better when he was with Toronto. Yeah, I mean, Ori, Will Smith tore they butt up. Will Smith got down. Good call about Will. Will lit they butt up. That's what we call Robert O. We call him Will Smith. He was a fresh prince in them shots. Oh, and he hit that dunk. You even know the one, he hit the threes, but if you remember that dunk when he did a left hand yak on him, that was the one. That was game 6, I believe. Hit the left hand yak on him. That was the one that was memorable to me because they didn't see Ori. Was it game 5 or 6? He hit that yak on him. He did try to say that they was trying to hook up Tim Duncan with the fouls and all that and all that. I don't really believe all. I mean, he said the United Nations. I do believe that Stern hated them. I think they were too black for the NBA. I'm not gonna argue with that, and I'm not gonna argue. Yeah, he hit that left hand dunk. And I'm not going and I ain't gonna lie, that was not what you call a sexy happening series. That was a skill series. Now, if you're a basketball aficionado and you like teams that are going for the jugular and fighting, Spurs and the Pistons was your best finals. Probably one of your best finals you've seen in years from a league. Then you think about Popovich and Larry Brown. That's some intense X's and O's, strategizing, getting physical, taking it. As a matter of fact, the first couple of games I thought Ori got like in basketball. That was the never. My buddy and I used to joke about that all the time. We always talk about how the NBA with the fix was in because they don't want no two markets that they can't sell. Nobody wants to go to San Antonio and Detroit in June. I'm just saying. So he's like, we're not gonna have that happen again. Yeah, because J.R. Smith was up there giving gang signs on Twitter back then, and Melo was who banging with the Baltimore Braves, and Iverson was Iverson. Yeah, they were. But that's not why they lost that series to the Lakers. They just did some dumb stuff in that series. Gerald made some bad passes, and Phil Jackson just having out coached George Carl. They should have been better with that squad. And then when they got Chauncey Billups, they should have been better. I think Kenyon Martin was. I just think they got into. They just didn't. They had too much good for their own good. They had the wrong. They just didn't have the right mindset. They should have done better than what they did. But they were. But they were not. They weren't scary black like the Pistons. There's a difference. Too black and scary black. Too black in the sense that their image, their vibe, but it was kind of almost stereotype. That Pistons was too black, was scary black because they could really defend. They didn't really care. They sacrificed and they played basketball in a way that if you were gonna come there, they were gonna get at you. The Nuggets situation was almost like a rap document. It's almost like CB4. It's almost like a made for TV show. You know, it's more a lot of stereotype character as opposed to actual play because they didn't really have a leader on that team that really was going to that next level. Look, I know you're gonna come at me. Iverson was one of the greatest players ever, but I didn't think of him as no leader, not like that, not to get them guys together. Melo too, J.R. Smith neither. When Detroit with Ben Wallace, they rode that. There was respect. All right, yeah. Well, Detroit Pistons, the bad boys, and the ones that won the chip, because those two right there. Um, I wanna say the Knicks in the '70s because that was pretty black, pretty black. Um, I would say Dr. J and the Sixers in the '70s, I would say, especially with Daryl Dawkins. I mean, you know, they was pretty raw. Um, the same Seattle Supersonics, downtown Fred Brown, Dennis Johnson, Gus Williams. Yup. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm gonna go mainly with more '70s, early '80s. I mean, they'll get the nod. They'll get in. They'll get in. And hmm, and I want to say a Golden State team, either with Sprewell or when Tim Hardaway and Mitch Richmond were there. I want to say one of them shoulda, woulda, coulda, something like that. But it's not gonna be none of the main teams. You ain't gonna never hear me say the Celtics were too black. Because even Magic and Dreams thing, I did not feel that they were that. No, 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 no. I don't look at them as too black. I know you're gonna say the Davis brothers. No, 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 not to me. No. I already mentioned the teams. I'd say the Blazers, Jailblazers would consider too black. No, I don't look at Indiana like that. Orlando, no. This is where you have to be like a basketball deep in your mindset. I tell you, the Nuggets in the '90s would be considered too black with my dude Raul, because they had him, Dikembe. I think they was, yeah. I mean, you'd make the case for that before you say that. No, to be too black in the NBA, they never gonna put you on the mix. You could say the Rockets of the '94 if you want to, because Elijah One and Vernon Mad Max and Mario Elie used to be kissing fans, and that them brothers was a little bit different. So I might make a case, especially with Vernon Maxwell, and you had Elijah One. Yeah, I'd say that. So yeah, something like that. But not your nothing with the Lakers, Celtics, or modern day Golden State, or modern day Miami, or Cavaliers. None of that. None of that. I ain't really seen except for the Pistons. The Pistons in '04, '05. That's the last chocolate city team I seen. That's real chocolate. I'm talking about the scary to some white folks. Ain't nothing else like that. Even the teams that are all black now, they don't put the fear. The fear is that if they win, they say something crazy, or the fear is that they really just didn't care. Like they were gonna say, "We're gonna do what we're gonna do." You know, you don't have that kind of situation. No, no, because they had Carrie Skittles and they had Richard Jefferson, and they weren't scary. And Kid was a thug off the court. Yeah, the French fry with the wife thing. Okay, Kenya Martin played a role, but they weren't like that. No. Mm-mm. It ain't like Buck Williams was playing for them Nets teams like he did in the early '80s. Okay, that's not the same. You know, you want to scare me, you got to put somebody in there who could really parlay and could pound you. Kenny Martin could score all right, but he wasn't no Buck Williams. Buck was a scary brother. Even Jason Williams, who the center was more fearful than Kmart. Kmart was more of a skill player, but you know, I don't see nothing like that no more. No, I don't know. I told you. That Pistons team had that pretty much on lock, okay? That was the last scary brother team. They were scary brothers for a lot of people. I know. If you're not a fan of that, it ain't for you. So, yeah. But it's a good topic though, but no, they're not. No. I got a handful of teams that come to that level. A handful. I've seen some real black. And real black is also not only they good teams, but NFL. Oh god. Well, I'd have to tell you more about players than I would the teams because when we talk to teams, they're not. I mean, you could make the case in the '70s if you want to for the Steelers because they were pretty black, except for Bradshaw. But Broadway Joe Gill was the best quarterback. Okay. And you could say the Eagles in the '80s with Randall Cunningham, Jerome Brown, Reggie White. You could make a case that them was some brothers. That was a brother like team. Because I'm doing this off the top of the dome too. And I gotta think, because I gotta think real careful when I say this, because you asking me, I gotta compartmentalize teams and times and everything. So thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that, MM. Thank you. I do too. Because as great as he is, it's also an indictment of how racist the NFL was by black quarterbacks. And we only talking about, okay, I'm gonna address that in a second. We're only talking about the last 40 years of black quarterbacks having a say that got to a level. This ain't nothing new. And we're really talking about the last 10, 15 years, Super Bowls and runs, etc. We just came off a year ago with the first two black starting quarterbacks that ever appear in the Super Bowl together. So let that sink in. We're not that deep. '90s Cowboys was scary but tameable. Um, Emmett Irvin, I mean, Charles Haley was deep with his wisdom but they weren't scary where white folks was like, "Oh my god," because it wasn't that kind of situation. Um, if Troy Aikman had have been black, that may have been a different story back then. Because when you talk scary, he do because it's like they worried about him breaking records. They don't want him to be a threat to the Rockets. And I know I'm gonna tell you something. Ain't that long ago with the way Mahomes looked, you would think they would welcome how he looked because imagery wise, he fits accessible and threatening because Lamar scares him. Let's be real. To just blow his throw up like buckwheat, you white folks gonna be like, hold your bags. Even if they're in their own living room, like hold your bags. And Lamar scares them because the rawness of him and the way he talk and his vibe, and they try to downplay his athleticism that he can quarterback because that's how NFL is today. Being stuck butt in the pocket works for some. It's moving away from there, and that's scary. But Mahomes' totality is more scary, and you're correct, Mr. Ted, because this cat got him in the same sentence with Brady and Montana right now. That is frightening them, and I hope he wins a ton more. And it'll just go show you how racist they've been. They won't talk about it because they are afraid it's a subject that they've downplayed. Because they don't think the black quarterback is like saying the brain. They don't think he's smart enough to lead. That's basically what they told you. So now you got a guy who's defying logic, just like Tiger Woods did in golf. And they ski because what they're not used to scares them, but that's what they forbid. Okay, so back to the top black NFL teams. Who else could I pick on? Them Steelers. I don't think they cheated for him to beat Mahomes. I think that the Kansas City line was garbage in that game. And Brady did pick up with Mike Evans, and Brady did have a great supporting cast, and they did blitz him pretty well. You got to remember, even in the fourth quarter of the game, they still thought Mahomes might come back because he's so good that a 3 touchdown lead don't mean nothing with his skill set. It take a special team to beat him. I don't think they cheated for him. And I have no problem with him winning his ring in Tampa Bay. I'm so glad he did win. I was pulling for him because as a Michigan Wolverine fan, I did hold Brady in high regard, and I can't stand Belichick's behind. I do think though they do know what happened with all them gates in New England. I ain't stupid, and I don't walk around with Stevie Wonder glasses on either. But having said all that, Brady was the real deal. It's a bad white boy because he definitely made himself into a top tier quarterback. He worked his butt off and he knew his shortcomings, so he put the work in. So I don't think they cheated as far as that goes. I know that game in Kansas City, that was a call that was legit. And Brady hit through two, three, third down and 10 plays on the drive. It's just that Kansas City wasn't prepared at that time. Right now, Andy Reid can't do no wrong. And Mahomes is starting to hit his prime and his peak. That's the scary part. Did I say that out loud? Yeah. He's hitting his prime and his peak. His window is starting to open. Uh-oh. But anyway, yeah, I ain't stutter. You think that what he done so far is great? That dude about to go crazy next 5 years. If they get the right keep the personnel around him, he got a chance at regardless what happens next Sunday, he got a chance to get a couple more rings. And his legacy gonna be so far out ahead, he has no one to look in the no one's gonna be sitting in his back seat or his rear view. And he's in an era where you have top tier talent because you can make the case that Lamar Jackson ever gets a ring with his MVPs, you can make a case top 12, top 15. Do you know how they slurp Joe Burrow? And Josh Allen's a top tier guy. So it's not like he's playing. And you forgot all about Deshaun Watson, Justin Herbert, and by default, Dak Prescott. But I'm just saying he's playing in a top tier era and running things. So, but it's hard. Like when you say NFL too black, it's always gonna be Philadelphia, Philly in the '80s. But there's more players that I would say that about. Like Brian Cox comes to mind with the old Dolphins. That was a real, but Charles Haley, you know, cast that really talked about it. Tony Dorsett did too, you know. Jim Brown back in the day. Um, Warren Sapp, Kaepernick, yeah. So, you know, um, it's more players. It's hard to say with teams because, again, most of them didn't have white quarterbacks, white head coaches, obviously ownership and general managers. So you got to get the individual players to speak out, you know, and that's another story. It's not going to be so much teams. NBA is a different story. Now, I know that sounds crazy and hard to believe, but it's true. Professional sports. But a black basketball team, all black, is more scary than an NFL. Well, it's because you can see visibility, but also what they say. But to having said that, though, I haven't seen a black NBA team to match what Kaepernick did, except you say my dude Rauf and you say Craig Hodges. I haven't really seen an Adrian Dantley back in the day, but I've really seen a team be a threat like that. So it's an interesting. That's a whole different interesting dynamic there. They were, and I know they were happy when Duke beat them in that game, and I was so sad that game in '91. But they were Fab Five was they were scaring folks because what the thing about the Fab Five, that was the first time that the merch they had their merch style. They had the socks and the shorts and the haircuts and the vibe. They had that swag. They had that vibe. Yeah, but not like the Fab Five. Not like the Fab Five. The Fab Five was like a group. That was like R&B band. You didn't see anything like that, you know. But they once cats went straight to the NBA, that changed. Again, like I will tell you like this 30 years ago, that was the last of the era. Anything after 95 is not the same. It's not the same. Yep. Sure did. Sure did. Sure did. Sure did. Well, you going to church. You a church boy. That's what I but yeah, it changed. It changed. Changed. You know. And I applaud you for talking about 90s Kentucky. I remember them, but for me, after Garnett went and Kobe went, it's not the same because it you never get to see the best college basketball player again. And I ain't mad at the cats because go get your bag. Just don't get pimped no more than you got to because Lord knows they're going to take your merch, they're going to take your name, they're going to pimp you. But looking at college basketball, it really did feel like a drop off because what you had, it's just not the same no more. So just saying, I'm gonna keep it a buck with that. Yeah, I do too. And actually, as a participant, because I do pull for Michigan, as you know, and I I had a couple of tournament pools. I had the one with Florida back to back. I had a bet with a former coworker, and I came up real close. And Michigan lost 3 years ago, and I do good in them things, and I still do. But you asking me to follow this cat or that cat? No, it's not the same. Duke's not the same no more. North Carolina's not the same no more. You know, Gonzaga's still the same. They play tough until they go back east and they get soft and they get beat. Finally lose. I mean, there's still situations that you still keep up, but it's not the same where you're going to follow a guy that was a redshirt freshman and then he becomes a senior and he rocks, unless of course, and he usually not that dude. There ain't gonna be no more Tim Duncans that's gonna play 4 years at Georgia Tech. Okay, just saying that them days is gone. You know. And if you grew up, let's just say I did go along to when Rip Hamilton in Connecticut won the title in '99 or whatever. Let's say I did that hypothetically, right? If I go by LeBron James coming to the NBA, I know I have not seen. Oh, yes, they are. Good call. Yes, they are. I have not seen the best college basketball. Even Carmelo's 1 year in Syracuse, which was really good. He balled, but we have not seen that, so it's different now. Yeah, they are. They are the gift that keeps on giving. Crazy John Stockton be sitting in the stands. They just can't. Adam Morrison, and you remember he started crying in and he couldn't finish? There you go. That's it in a nutshell right there. There you go. There you go. Mhm. There you are right there. Yep. Tender as all get out and be giving gifts away. Gonzaga actually got a chance to be deep now because it ain't the same as it once was, and they still get beat during the way they play. Used to be they go back east and them boys back east would turn them over and get physical with them and bone them up and hope they can play half court basketball and they get beat. Now they get beat even playing full court ball, shooting threes. So I'm like, boy, y'all just destined to be. Yeah, y'all don't. Unlike Craig Carroll, you don't win. Thank you. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And they would always be top 8 by just because that's almost like a given, right? But they play one of them teams back east, get them cakes ran up through, and they just choke. And they would get pimp slapped because they get on board. They didn't put no boards. They too light in the cakes. So they get they butt pent up and they couldn't get physical. That's what happened. Yeah. So I stopped messing with them turkeys anyway. Because it was the same old story every year, just too light in the cakes. Run up against a team back east, too light in the cakes. That's what hurt their butt. Then finally, when they started making NC more pro like with shooting threes, they got jacked from somebody jacked threes and beat their butts. I'm like, y'all just soft. Y'all just have never get over the hump. You know. I'm gonna call y'all Scotty tissue paper. Y'all Scotty Pippen tissue papers. Like y'all got the talent. Y'all don't finish it up. So y'all tissue. I don't pay no mind. So I guess if they get a few of them NITs, they could get that 65th best. That's kind of like the NBA. That's what the NBA decided to do with the Lakers, right? You get that Walmart dollar store, Dollar Tree trophy banner, and you hang it up on your wall. There you go. Yeah, but he did get that chip with Carolina. I mean, he did early, but he did get his ring. He got the Andy Reid later, better later. Hey, he was on that old Andy Reid, Marty Schottenheimer train, or Buck Showalter and George Carl train. Cat, yeah, North Carolina. Say, you how I did that? Yeah, just like George Carl. Guys who are really Rick Alderman too. Really good to very good coaches. They just can't seal the deal. There you go. Doc Rivers would be there too if he hadn't had that rain. Because Lord knows he'd be like on that, you know. Except those guys actually I got more respect for. Doctor had 90, 80, 90 chances. Got one ring to show for another finals appearance, but he didn't blown so many leads. I mean, and I don't think that Milwaukee thing gonna be that good either. What I saw the other night against Denver, I don't think so. Their defense still sucks. As a coach or as a player, or both. As a player, he overachieved because he really wasn't that good, but he did overachieve because he really didn't really do a lot for Dominique. But I'll give him as a head coach, he's overrated. As a head coach with the talent he's had, He's bordering on never was because if he blows this mess with Milwaukee with Giannis, and after what happened with the Clippers with CP3 and with Philly, then Tony overrated and overstated and I never was because yeah, his offense is great. I know Kobe called him offensive genius, right? But his 7-man rotations in the postseason, his teams, he never wanted to use a big. He never wanted to play half court basketball. He did make cats look like all-stars. I give it with Nash, Lynn Sanity, James Harden. I'll give him that as far as his offensive schemes. But it runs into a dead wall. You know what's going to happen. You know, eventually teams are going to go 9, 10 deep off the bench. His guys are going to get burnt and tired. He wears them out. He did it with Kobe, Dwight Howard, and Nash. It was horrible in LA. And Mr. What we call him Mr. Pringles. Yeah, because he like the Pringles, or you can call him Colonel Sanders, however you want to call that turkey. Um, they didn't go nowhere. So yeah, he's a never was. Because cats have done it he had a great system, but he didn't get the results. And he made great players. He did not make great teams. Halliburton is solid. Halliburton's solid. He's on his way. He's good. You know, Paul George is a bum, and he got to get to a finals. If he don't, it's underachieve. It's yeah. Same thing with CP3. Andre Miller, I like. He was solid. Good call. We never talk about him. We never talk about Andre Miller. He was solid. I like the way he played. Yeah, he is. But he's been that way. Ain't no. He's been that way. Stop letting them shoot the 70 points and game time and tapping his arm and shooting from logos. What else does he do? Portland didn't do nothing but get past the 2 rounds. Terry Stotts got a lifetime pass. He brought a former coach that got fired to be part of the coaching staff to Milwaukee. Now, are they diva status or what? What did Terry Stotts do but be a broke George Karl and be a puppet for him? So Dame is a bum. He's overrated. He can't play no defense. He ain't no Drew Holiday on the defense side. And if he don't score 35, 42 points, what's he got? So you tell me. He's bum. I know he'll get one of the 75 greatest players. I know they slurp him up. I know all that. But he ain't done nothing to impress me. It's kind of like that Shania Twain song. That don't impress me much. That's Dame. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I told you before, Brandon Roy's career was cut short. I took Brandon Roy. He moved me more than Dame. I know Dame got more points, no more notoriety, but I just ain't feeling him. So I ain't the only one. You see how he's playing out in Milwaukee. That's why no one takes them serious as title contenders. It ain't because Giannis ain't balling. It ain't because they don't play Brooke Lopez the right way. And Middleton, is Middleton. It's because Dame looks lost. Because Dame actually got to play with a teammate with a team that's legit. And he ain't used to that. He's used to stat padding and jacking shots and posing for Polaroids. Okay? Shaking it like a Polaroid. Cat is not playing no team ball, and it shows. So yeah, he's already been a bum. What did Portland do the last few years? Okay, let me go one at a time with this. Jameer, he was solid. He did better than you expect. He was solid. Hornacek was solid too. Hornacek, because what he was in Philly and what he was in Utah, he was solid white boy. I remember they had that NBA competition weekend and he did everything but the contest. Well, he actually played better than what you give him credit for. You know, he Mormon boy, like he had about 30 kids. But he was solid. He was solid. Jason Williams, who was going to be the Eminem of point guards. And I remember there were some white folks that actually said, y'all can have ours and we got white chocolate. I liked his passing game, but he was too much on flash, little on substance. Therefore, he was a bum. He did never improve his game. He got the ring with Miami and he got, he stayed consistent. I did like he was fun, but no one remembers the bulk of his game because he blew his opportunity with Sacramento. That was his highlight. That's why they went and got Bibby and Bobby Jackson because they were tired of dealing with him trying to, he threw some wicked passes, but again, he's closer to never was when you think about it. For all that, he fit in good today. If you until you ever have a meal and so if you were eating meat or if you didn't, you had a veggie burger or a hamburger, right? And you get some fries with or something like that, and that the burger looks bigger, but then upon more bites you take into it, it's looks bigger than what it really is. That's what this game was. Rudy Gobert is a never was. Because he's not even good enough to be a bum. This turkey got traded for all them picks. He blocked shots, defensive player of the year. Do I look at him like I do Dwight Howard? No. Do I look at him like I do Dikembe? No. He's soft. Old Frenchie be crying. No. No. If he hit them boards like he hits on his teammates on the sideline, he might actually have something that's memorable. I don't really think much of Rudy Gobert. I'm not a Rudy Gobert fan. Mm-mm. Oh, Frenchie to me is just soft in the head. And they're not gonna win with him. That's what the problem is. Because him and Cat are like two softies. I feel bad for Ant Edwards because no one respects that team either. They seen as Frosty the Snowmans. But a guy who looked like he could be one of the five best players going in the league, but he stuck with them two frosty cakes. They ain't winning. You ask, I'm gonna tell you. I don't care for Gobert. I like Terry Mills, but no one's gonna care about him. But I liked him okay. Joe Dumars was good, could play, and he was a decent executive, except for um, you know that draft pick in '04, which we don't talk about. I'm not buying him as an NBA dude though right now though. No, but as a player, Joe was good. Joe was good and underrated too. Did a pretty good job against Jordan. Paul Gasol um made himself into a legit player. He was solid. He was solid. He was solid. And he was solid. Yeah, I don't want to talk about Joe Dumars and Darko Milicic because but as a player, Joe was straight. He was straight. Blake Griffin, bum, incomplete, never was. He's all three. Bum because for his hype and and everything he was doing in one dimensional, he had it going on, but he didn't add nothing to his repertoire, and he just became predictable. He went to slam dunk contest, and I believe I could fly and jumping over a kid. That's what happened. He ended up going to Boston and other places and shooting a little bit of a three, but it didn't really matriculate until like what Vince Carter doing when he got on his career was just too he was shot, and he was considered soft too. Incomplete because we never got to see if he would ever add anything to his game. And he got hurt, and that kicked his butt. And also being drafted before Steph Curry. Act like you don't know. There's people that still looking sideways in hindsight. You just don't know how it's gonna turn out. That's why I don't go by drafts. You don't know how these things gonna turn off. It look one way. He's supposed to have been the second coming of the Rain Man. He ended up becoming the Sandman. Got buried. And never was because you don't really talk about Blake Griffin like that no more. Monty Ellis was solid, but he said something ridiculous once. He said that if Dwayne Wade, the ring aside, we're the same person. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. He could score, but sometimes at the detriment of his team. There's a reason why they traded him and Clay and Steph became the Splash Brothers. He did not fit. But he was delusional. Good at spurts, but then he got traded to Milwaukee. That's back when Milwaukee was getting traded to Spain or Ecuador. You had to get your Google out and get your map out. And you know where that was. That meant they didn't want him around. That's what happened. So, you know, he was a little delusional. Had some handles and he could score and everything like that, but he wasn't that dude. If he was that dude, they would have kept him around. Because Lord knows, if you had him, Steph, and Clay on the perimeter and what they end up doing and taking positions out, that would have been a murderous row. So, but I know it might not be popular to say, but I'm gonna call it like I see it. So now he, you know, he'll fall into the bummy role and delusional too. So yeah, we really getting at it today. I mean, it's cool. Uh, all right, it's Stephen J. I told you he was bone and fall into the never was because he blew his opportunity. He was that's what the Spurs needed with a three and San Antonio, and then he went to Indiana. And he always tried the tough guy for side. And he could shoot and play a bit, but he was never that dude. He could play a bit, but he was never that dude. He was tripping. He just didn't stay in his lane, and then he ended up crying, and that's why he ran him out the league. He could play a bit, but he wasn't that dude. He wasn't worth all the headache. Sam Mitchell, I got respect for. He turned into a decent coach, and he played hard. He overachieved, so I can respect that. I can always respect the dude that play hard and bust his cakes and go on, as opposed to a dude who's got skill set, but then gets into this delusion they need me and they want me. That's what Steven Jackson was. Had he stayed with Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili and stayed in his lane and been on point, pop in the system, they probably go to a few more finals. It would have been Duncan went through the Tom Brady situation where it was almost another decade before he got there again. So they listed him, but they weren't going to tolerate his foolishness. So fans overseas respect hustle players more than flashy one person's one place. Well, yeah, because they still operate out the old system of how guys play, but they don't teach that over in the States. They don't want that in the States. They don't want that, you know. Unless, of course, you happen to be like Dennis Rodman who could give you flair and flavor all at once. But very seldom does a guy like that become a fan favorite or he becomes so polarizing in what he does. But see, that's a different era though. But we're in a different day and time. Like I said before, they selling Ringman, Barnum, and Bailey now. They want a circus on wheels. They don't want people to really study the intricacies of the game where you have to fundamentally tap all the layers and get all different types of personalities. Everybody's got to look the same, be the same, think the same. That's why the game is garbage now. So, I mean, if I was coming along now, I wouldn't even watch this mess. That's real talk. I'm gonna even waste my time with pro sports for the most part if I was coming along now because the stuff is so contrived. It's not even funny. It's because I've been, because I came along when I did. I'm not gonna lie to you. What would make me want to watch the NBA when it's like watching wrestling and the fakery and how they refs and all the stuff that what they be pulling? Baseball, you got guys with a 5 year rate getting paid all kinds of money, and they ain't got no business getting that. And they do this on purpose, and they built in the ballparks, the balls, all that. The NFL, most of these guys can't quarterback. Most of these coaches suck, and they still got a racist agenda about black quarterbacks, and they know good and well speed is more dominant, and they run cover two like the NBA puts zones, and Major League Baseball is factoring whatever they feel that they want to sell the game with. So, what would make me want to be inclusive to the predictability that we see all the time? So, yeah, but that's what they want. They got an agenda for what they want. I don't think that he's going to have that much longer because I mean he's not going to be able to win this year. And realistically, he turns 40 next year. That'll probably be his swan song. I don't think he can pull it off no more. Um, I just feel that that time then came and gone, you know. So Um, you know, that's how I feel about it. You know, but they always do that. I mean, the refs to me, they get behind who's a money guy. You know, in part, they kind of were like that with Jordan too. In all defense, they do that to whoever they can make the bag off of, but it's a different kind of way they do it. So LeBron, they want to sell this agenda that because if he was such a revolutionary with his words and he was so scary black or something, it's stuff that he said that they wouldn't, but they act like they get behind it. No, they got money on him. He's more he's been more bought for what Adam Silver wanted than Steph Curry. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because Steph, they wanted the Euro style. They just didn't see a black dude that was gonna make it better. Just like James Harden with the Euro step. They had that thing dated. But the LeBron factor was coming along because he was the last high school great superstar. And then he came back home and all this storyline. I mean, it writes itself. Yeah, I know. I did a video about that. And my reaction was first of all, he can't stay healthy. Second of all, the thing that people hold against him is the best choice and decision he ever made, that he did the dumbest thing to leave. He should have kept his butt in Golden State. If he plays with Steph Curry and them right now, I guarantee you he comes back healthy, they probably wins another ring or two. Probably would have beaten Toronto if he was healthy in that finals. So we might be talking about him with 3 or 4, 5 rings right now. He would have been in the conversation had he stayed with Steph because he would have been seen as the better player. And the upside of his career would have been about rings. And if they could dominate like they could, they start to romanticize you that they become as dominant as Shaq and Kobe. And then they become like Magic and Kareem and Jordan and Pippen, whoever is going to put in your all time great duos. So he actually should have stayed in Golden State. He did them a huge he did the argument would have actually been in his favor had he stayed. That's my personal opinion. I think leaving and then he goes to Brooklyn with Kyrie and James Harden, who Stevie Wonder could tell you how that's gonna turn out. Um, Now with Devin Booker and Phoenix and stuff. eh. So to me, he had a chance had he stayed. They don't give a brother no job. And that's why Magic Johnson is used in pimp. Magic be tap dancing. No, good and well, Dan Quinn ain't gonna do nothing in Washington. They'll build better than they were with Rivera, but at what cost? Yeah, the enemy be getting hated on. It's how it goes. That's why I'm not impressed with Magic in the NFL. I'm not impressed. The enemy should have got the job. If the enemy was white, he'd have like 5 jobs lined up. Are you kidding me? Because Kyler Moore, who's a homogenized offensive coordinator, by getting another coordinating gig. The enemy's just riding behind the pine. The enemy should have gotten about 3 or 4 jobs easily, easily. And between Washington, the New York Giants, just in that vicinity, he could get that. He should definitely be looked at. So, okay, I'm gonna write that down. Thank you. I will. As Shaq say, put that on the shirt. I'm gonna put that on it. Yeah, because that is embarrassing. And let me write that down, Magic. Dress ball and be enemy. I'm gonna do that one tomorrow. Thank you. Yeah, well, so I'll tell you this. Sherm Lewis. You familiar about Sherm Lewis with the San Francisco 49ers? Uh Holgram Holmgren, Gruden, uh, won't say Andy Reid, but Holmgren, Gruden, Mariucci, and there was somebody else. All came from the Sherman Lewis tree. And Sherman Lewis was the black offensive coordinator. Know what? Know what? Sherman Lewis, the black dude who coordinator who had that tree. All them cats. A lot of them cats came off of his coordinating tree. Sherm Lewis. See, Enemy kind of reminds me of that. Black dude comes up with this creation. White dudes get all the praise and the glory. And then people fall into love and they don't know the truth about how these trees work, you see. And so, oh, okay. Look him up, man. Shoot, Sherm Lewis. I have to dig it up because it's been a while since I've even talked about this. My buddy and I back in the day used to talk about Sherm Lewis. Um, see if I can find it. Offensive coordinator. See if I can find it. He's in the Hall of Fame. Let me see if I can find it. He was four-time Super Bowl champion. He was the coordinator. 34 years as a coach. 13 as the NFL coordinator. So you have to Google it. And he got his headbutt. But Green Bay from 92 to 99. Minnesota 2000, 2001. San Francisco's wide receivers. 4 chips. So see if I can find him real quick. If I can find him for you. Yeah, see, Holmgren, Mariucci, Gruden, all them cats. I don't know if you can see it. That's him right there. Sherm Lewis. That's him right there. This cat was yeah. Yeah, it's true. He's a great example of that. That's him on the sidelines with Montana and Bill Walsh in the Super Bowl in the Super Bowl against I think that was against Denver when they blew him out. That's him right there. Let's see if I can find another shot of him. Mm-hmm. Him and Aaron Rodgers right there. There you go. Mm-hmm. Michigan State. So I like it when we do these live chats because I never get to talk about some of the people that I remember, and then One of the things is that um, uh, on the field right there. See, and the reason why this be bothering me so much is because, like, I remember Jim Fossil, like, we talk about these coordinators and these players, right? They get mad opportunities. He didn't get it. There you go. That's him right there. I'm glad we do these live because, again, see, I had a lot of these conversations with friends of mine, just be joking. Like, I'll be talking about Sherm Lewis. It's amazing. Thanks. Appreciate that. And I'm glad to have you. Appreciate everything you do because we get to bring it out. A lot of stuff I've had in private conversations about some of these coordinators, people that don't get their love, um, people that you're not really familiar with, and they can seem obscure or they can seem like, who was that? That's a good example. And you be like, priors like cats like that who've never gotten their due, you know, but the people they've been behind. So when you talk about the enemy, well, you think the enemy was something? This cat was something else. But he had to stand behind because again, racism, this systematic institutionalized racism or racism with opportunities for black coordinators to become leaders, etc. Ray Rose was too black, but he was also average. I mean, he was in situations where he was never going to have successful teams because between Philly and Green Bay, it was almost like they were going to be 8-8. So it was almost like he had it, but it was putting him there. Denny Green was legit. It was legit. But again, black head coaches don't usually get the opportunities that their white counterparts do. Tony Dungy was an anomaly because he got to coach. I remember when he had Sean King and they got them to the NFC Championship against the Rams. And believe me, it wasn't for Kurt Warner hitting Ricky Prohl on that one pass. That was a like 11-6 game. They had the greatest show on turf stomped. If you remember that NFC Championship game, he had Sean King, who was like a third tier quarterback. That's how great a coach Dungy was. But Dungy, when he got Peyton Manning, that's an anomaly. Lovey Smith stuck with sexy Rexy Grossman and them turkeys over there is a joke. But that's what the black head coaches get. Yeah, they ran Wilkes out. And Kingsbury was one of the great white hypes who they wanted to hype up and bring him in. It's true. That happens all the time, though. Just like Raheem Morris, who just got the job with Atlanta. Brother will get a job, but he'll basically get a job in China. They know good and well that they filled in a quota, but they know they're not going to put them with a top tier situation. See, you got to be a black coordinator for 57 years, and all you'll get is a broke KFC bucket and some biscuits. No knock to Jim Harbaugh earned his right, but Jim Harbaugh gets put in a plush LA with Justin Herbert. Think about it. Raheem Moore got a coach on the sidelines and prove himself 20, 80 years as an NFL coordinator as opposed to a guy who did win in college and did have great success in NFL a long upon a time, but that's 10 years ago. They don't do that. Any options. Brothers don't get options. Just saying. Well, that comes with a caveat. That's like an asterisk. I'm gonna tell you one reason why not. Because that's that same Al Davis that whiteballed Marcus Allen when Bo Jackson came there. He stopped letting Marcus take over. Howie Long and them still talk about it to this day. Marcus was a Super Bowl MVP against Washington, but Marcus Allen had to go to Kansas City. So I kind of, on one hand, I respect him for bringing Art Shell and what he did, but the way he did Marcus Allen with whiteballing him, I always looked at them sideways, and that's why I lost a lot of respect for the Raiders. I used to like the Raiders a lot as a kid. As a matter of fact, I pulled for them in that Super Bowl, and they were probably my second favorite team after the Bills because Marcus reminded me a lot of OJ with certain cutbacks and jukes, and also being an SC boy. But after the way they did him and how you went to Kansas City, Morris has hired by NFL Shawshank. Morris. Who are you talking about? I just want to know. I know you're doing the Shawshank Redemption, but who are you talking about? Just so I know we're on the same page. You tell me who I'm just trying to figure out who you mentioned. But that's the problem I had with the Raiders. They did Marcus Cole. That's the guy that would win your league MVP. So I think they've been cursed ever since. They've been the one Super Bowl since, but I'll never have respect for them the way they did him. Which Morris are we talking about? I'm just kind of curious which Morris you're talking about. I'm trying to think where I lost you. Oh, Raheem. Okay, okay, okay. I got you now. Never mind, never mind. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's what they do. That's how it that thank you. That's what they do. That's what they do. I ain't making this up. You can see for yourself. I mean, black quarterbacks usually get the crappiest teams. They have to. No, I'm glad CJ Stroud and props to Ohio State. But come on now, Houston. And then you're thinking, oh boy, they did. He ain't gonna talk about it though, because he was a yesser boss to Pat Bowens, the owner. He was a yesser. And he is. He's a Southern Cal. Yeah, Raheem, yep. Oh yeah. Raheem been coordinator for 50, 30 years, and he gotta go to Atlanta. It's a title. And you get the coach Justin Herbert, or you get stuck with what they got in Atlanta. Think about it. Purgatory. You were right about the Shawshank, the purgatory, because it's true. They don't do the white boys like that. And if a white boy gets stuck with a wax situation, he's gonna get 3 or 4 years to work it out. Brother, you're gonna be fired. They'll fire you as soon as they hire you. Facts. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, Shannon Sharp did get darn dirty. But it excuse me, it is a business. Pardon me. And if you're a player, you know that no matter who you are, especially at the tight end. He's not Shannon Sharp was part of something new with the way he caught in his play. But it wasn't like Tony Gonzalez, who was more receiver type. He does. You're not lying. There's a lot of yes boss because that's what they know. Because them white owners talk to them like they feel hands because they say, well, we're going to give you, because you know good and well that there's a lot more Bill Polians that are in the NFL. Nobody white has nobody black has stepped to Bill Polian hardly and told him to shut up because of what he said about Lamar Jackson. He's still trying to talk about Lamar should be, you know, or they don't do that. I wish someone would, but they don't because they know that them Klansmen run the league. Jerry Jones, you know, I don't trust Robert Kraft's beady eyes, old perv, and cat that owns the Miami Dolphins who got busted for all of them. I don't trust none of them. Even East Indian cat Jacksonville, he ain't about much. I mean, they all think the same way. He keeps it real, but he's had to deal with dysfunction on that team. I mean, it's been a lot of tension. As real as you can, but he has to keep his cool with him because he knows he wants to work in that league, and they ain't gonna let you go, but so far, believe that. So, you know, The last time he really put it down was when they asked him if he wanted the job at SC, and he says, "I'm a professional football coach. I'm not a college coach." That was real. So, but I do believe he thinks and knows his day is coming. They trying to run him up out of there. So, well, give me some examples, and I will tell you. Please do. I want some more examples, and I can tell you the owners that have. And I know Chucky Gruden is downplaying what he said. Um, but openly right now, white coach that says stuff. Please, I want you to tell me who you got recently. There was one that said something kind of suspect. I can't think of it right now. I got to think of who it was. There was one recently. I can't think of who it was. Someone said some stuff. See, like I can tell you that Sean Payton's giving me racist vibe, but I can't prove it. I can't prove, you know, what he did. What he did to Russell Wilson though was dressing him down. Though that's a fact. But to prove it beyond that, I'd have to. I do feel that they are though. I'm not saying, and I just want you, throw it what you got. I do feel they are though. The reason why I feel they are is because of yeah. The reason why I feel that they are is because of Kaepernick. I already know. Harbaugh might probably give him a job. Yeah, and I just got through talking about Sean Payton because the whole way he disrespected Russell Wilson. But again, that's hard to prove because people say you need the actual words, but he's done it in other ways. The strip down is real. Calling him Toby. He basically called him Toby. Said you too soft, too gentle, too friendly, too kind. You can't be kissing babies and holding dogs and looking all doughy eyed. He did emasculate him. So I'll give you that. But again, you got to prove it. You got to prove it where it's not just in code word. We know there's code words, you know. Yeah. And again, because he's in Alabama, and so it's kind of like a dual-edged sword. So if you want to kiss the rain, you got to be by the rain. Oh yeah, urban old freaky deaky. Yeah, I know they have. I know they have. I know they have. And for me, it was easier back in the day, even more so, because they didn't give black quarterbacks the opportunity. So, well, they say it to almost all of them. I mean, once you get hip to it, I mean, you know, they can say it to pretty much all because they know that you won't take their money. And they also know that we're not going to make a big scene because we're not going to be a threat, you know. So sad to say, they pretty much feel that way about majority of them. I mean, if you don't ever speak out on certain stuff and you don't ever, they don't put their credentials where you as great as a coach as she is a bigot. However, no one's gonna come out and say it that kiss the ring. And let me tell you what I mean by that. You never had Kobe say it. You never have Shaq say it. You never had Michael Jordan say it or Rodman. Pippen did, but people look at Pippen like he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Horry did, and so did East Coast Bay Funk. Um, he used to play for the Lakers. He said he was a Kobe stopper too, and he played for them. I think his name right now, but he wasn't. But he was never that dude. So, but you gotta have the dudes call you out on it. Now I know LeBron was gonna say that. Now we know Phil is. Some would say the hippieism, the granola, and he didn't. He wasn't. He too smart not to. Oh man, look, he was silent on Dana White because he works there on ESPN, and Dana White slaps around, and he's just played it off. They own, man. They owned. They are owned. They are owned. They are owned. If you come out, they didn't want to talk about Josh Giddey. I did videos about Giddey too. And Giddey be throwing them granny through the grandpa pass last night in the game. I saw the highlight. You know good and well. He's a passport brother of a different color. Know good and well his butt should be through. Yeah, it was Ruben. Well, Ruben. So no. This cat won the slam dunk contest. Isaiah Ryder. Isaiah Ryder. That's who it was. Isaiah Ryder. Because remember he's with the Lakers for a minute. And he East Coast Bay dunk, which was one of the last great dunks that I saw pre Vince Carter. That dunk was filthy. As a fact, I liked Isaiah Ryder's dunk better than I did Kobe's. Just saying. But anyway, yeah, he came out against Phil. Isaiah Ryder. And then he ran his butt up out of it too. Ruben was black, country. You know. I like Ruben. But no, they're not gonna ain't nobody gonna say nothing about mm-mm. Yeah, because Vince, just like Harvey Weinstein, I'm telling you, it's all connected. Just like James Dolan got them charges against him. Is anybody outside protesting Madison Square Garden talking about we're gonna boycott his games? No. No. But when this man had 80 of his goons throw Charles Oakley out onto the streets of New York, you see. That's why I don't take these people seriously. Too much acting. And they will look the other way and don't call it out on it. Vince McMahon been a booty snatcher and doing whatever he wanted for 50, 80 years, okay? Ain't nothing new. Ain't nothing new. You know. So they ain't gonna say nothing about him. Because they got quotas. And see, they already bug dancing for Dana White. So you know how that go. Ain't nobody say nothing about that slap. And everybody got 3 drinks down to get on Will Smith about Chris Rock. But Dana White and hit a woman during the Me Too cancel era in Mexico. Nobody said a word. He didn't get his privileges to visa revoked. No, nothing. Nothing. So yeah, yeah, yeah. And he said some other stuff too. I mean, he's been vile and foul. But see, the same people who dance for him will dance for Donald Trump. What's the difference between Vince McMahon, Donald Trump, Harvey Weinstein, and James Dolan? Vince McMahon, James Dolan, Harvey Weinstein, Donald Trump. What's the difference? And you could probably throw Howard Stern in there too. He did them all dirty. He did that whole network dirty. He made her hand over fist. But again, when a white dude pimps, he's seen as a conglomerate. He's seen as a CEO. He's some legendary. Black dude did that. They be saying like Don Kennedy, say he dirty, he bad news, he's filth. They say he's the devil. So you tell me. You tell me. I just call it like I see it. I ain't got to go, I already know. I know what he did. I know how they parlay. Complexion for like Paul Mooney used to always tell you, complexion for the protection. Never fails, like clockwork, you know, you see. So I don't, he stayed disrespecting folks, but he built an empire and they all got to kiss the ring. So they all have kissed the ring. They ain't all they kissed either. They got bought and paid for. Yeah. Believe me, The Rock and them know a lot more, but they can't talk because it's all tied together. See, that's how janky it is. If you talk, they can take it all away from you. That's the reason why black folks don't do a lot of talking about what they really see. Because nobody wants to end up like R. Kelly. Okay. You want the truth? I'm gonna tell it to you 100. If they come out, they'll be like R. Kelly. He who have it all can have it all taken away. And I'm not condoning the saying that he didn't merit some of the stuff he did, but if they really want him out of there, they'd have taken him out of 20 years ago. That's what I said about R. Kelly. That's why his charges in his case is not believable to me at all. They sitting on the something for 20. As long as you making us money and you shuffling your feet, we gonna step. But when you start asking about our paperwork and what we doing, we're gonna turn your ignition off for good. That's all it is. It's just a dirty, filthy business. And so they do it. They do it like, somebody will say, well, they gave up Harvey Weinstein for R. Kelly. I said, well, Harvey went broke, he old perv, and his money went funny. That's the only reason. Money went funny. But he still had Oprah and Gayle King and John Legend slurping him up. I can't trust Gayle King or John Legend, Oprah. They all industry puppets and plants. So, and believe me, you wonder how this ties into McMahon and Trump and Weinstein and Dolan and Epstein Island, all that. All this stuff is all chain link around the block. Yeah, I remember that. But I had more respect for Jim Ross, though. I never really was. I never. I mean, look, I can respect your hustle and make your bag, but I never was feeling Vince McMahon. He left me cold. So, am I shocked or surprised about all this unfolding? No. Do I think it's even worse than what they're saying? Yes. Do I think more will come out to what this goes on? Yes. Do I think they want more to come out? No. They told him to get real white, take your CEO final paycheck, hit side stage door left. We'll pay you on the way out. We'll give you some servants money and we'll make it all go away. Because if we were to tell the whole truth, your butt would be locked up. They could go if they went after Puffy for all that, they could go after Vince McMahon for far worse. And I bet you cash money some of the dudes had booty shots just like some of the females on the wrestling. But they ain't gonna never come out and say it. I'm just gonna keep it 100. He is. He's a marginal musician at best. Plays that old granny, old white women, 70, 80 type of music. He's like some lounge act. Ooh, like the broke deacon. They ain't got an original song in his body. And um just to marginalize. But that's what they pushed as an agenda. They gave him all the awards. They pushed him all like that. Rick Bischoff. Yeah. Yeah, I got, yeah. But John Legend to me ain't a bum. He's a never was to me. Because he ain't memorable. Nothing's memorable. I wish he was a bum. I wish he could be better. I don't see it. At least with a bum, it's like I feel like when we talked about Sheet earlier and he halftime it, but you know he had better in him. There ain't no better than John Legend. He sings stiff. He comes off stiff, bland, boring, whitewash, and some old grannies is like, oh, he just boring and bland and soulless. But that's what they want. So, yeah. But yeah, that's the jump off where these people are all tied together. So one thing about it is it's like a choo choo train. of mediocrity, but they meet up. Like I always tell you, cheeks for checks, booty for looty. That's what's up. So you know, so that is what it be. Mhm. But then like I said in wrestling, again, if you're great or you got something, they'll blow you up. If you suck, you just be a guy that kind of was a moment. That's the coldest brand of business because everybody's got to go in that turnbuckle and everybody's got to get thrown and tossed. Vince McMahon stayed collecting the bag no matter what. And that's the coldness of that wrestling business. And it could have its own surviving documentary. I told you, you ain't even heard the worst of him. See, the reality is, if you know most of this stuff that's out here, you ain't gonna watch TV again or watch none of these events no more. So that's just the reality of it. So, mhm, mhm, mhm. So yeah, I'm not familiar with those last three, so I kind of skip on that. That's why I didn't really comment on it. Probably so, but again, I heard something about it, but I didn't really pay a lot of mind. But I take your word for it. I like the Warriors back in the day, but again, that's a long time ago. But when I look at Vince McMahon, I watched the wrestling. I watched him, but I looked at him side eyed. I knew what he was about. I knew what he was about. So it ain't nothing nice. Ain't nothing nice. So you know, you're probably more familiar with some of that like I did. I watched the Real Wars. I watched a lot of it up until the brother. You talking about the what's that? He did that movie where he was a player with the afro and oh oh girl from the Fresh Prince of Bel Air was in it too. Hillary was in it. Meadows never was to me because I mean it was a shtick, and then plus he was in during the Saturday Night Live era when it wasn't that funny. Fro was cool, but he wasn't and never was. You know, Robert Downey Jr. is solid actor, solid. Could have been even better because one of those guys that definitely was on an interesting trajectory. Because I still liked it when he did Chaplin, and that was a heck of a statement for him to come out like that. Talented dude. So yeah, but Tim Meadows, I ain't thought about Tim Meadows in so long that I mean, I think about that one corny movie, and I think I watched that. And again, that's one of the reasons why I've not been a Saturday Night Live fan for Edges because he was in that era where it was not look watchable at all for the most part. So, but I do remember. I think Shirley was in. Yeah, Ladies Man, that was the one. And I liked it in a cheap kind of way, you know, corny, but I like because the women's in there. I like, but he was corny to me. He might have been a cool brother, but I just thought he was cornball. And I didn't really pay his career no mind. Just being honest, you know. So, because see now they got so many cats like Jared Carmichael and some of these turkeys who are what I consider third, fourth tier comedians who get shows and stuff. And I'm like, what couch are they on? Because you ain't that funny. So, I'm thinking, okay, you got on somebody's couch. Freddie Prince Jr., I was big on his daddy. His daddy was the truth. Daddy could have been a superstar. His daddy had the goods. Junior, I'm glad he's still alive and everything. He's homogenized to me. He's okay. The Scooby Doo movies sucked. Katie Holmes, she's a never was to me. She's kind of stiff. I ain't even talking about the whole thing with Tom Cruise and stuff. Just kind of like I seen her movies. She has some appeal to her, but I mean, I saw her that one movie where she was like the bank robber. They did that robbery with her and that movie where they was jacking or something. The cute generic white chick who's like a tier below Jennifer Garner in that reverse. Pop princess, like a broke, like in a Hillary Duff, like one of them kind of white chicks that they'll keep a job, nice homogenized, kind of like Mandy Moore kind of thing, but they're not really people that you sit and think of like, oh my God, Nick. Oh, Nick Cannon, probably one of the most hardest working cats. His hustle, his hustle makes him a superstar. His hustle. His actual talent, though, is a never was. Because you don't buy his music career. His stand-up suck. His movies are like cornball third tier on a good day. If you can't sleep about 2 or 3 in the morning, Nick is perfect for you. And I watched his movies. Like I pull for Nick because I like Nick. Like Nick's a cat, but he's a cornball the most. But as far as working, not too many people outwork Nick. Nick be in all them shows. He make all them shows. He gets his full residuals. Mass Singer, Mary's Got Talent, you know, um, the one on it, I can't think right now what on the TV is Nickelodeon. All that. Nick, Nick, Nick be keeping the bag, and Nick is a hustler. Like, you know. But as far as his actual talent, never was. No one took Nick serious. Applegate, okay. Okay. Pop Prince is another one. Didn't quite stay there. Meg Ryan was a shoulda, woulda, coulda. Boom. Should have been bigger. And the Harry Met Sally era, I thought she was gonna definitely be towards the good. Denzel with Denzel, just like you just kind of forget about it because it just didn't really, she just didn't really the quirkiness, and it just kind of should have been bigger. Garner in that broke pop princess, Julia Roberts, Sandra Bullock, like in that third tier, cute, kind of like what I said about Katie Holmes, the cutesy white girl who, you know, certain cute roles. That's why she's doing all those Discover commercials because her movie career is like pretty much a Nick Cannon happy hour. No one takes her serious. It's kind of like the Elizabeth Hurley thing. Nobody take her serious, but she got a hookup with them credit. She stays. She a hustler, maybe because she's some great talent. I did like 13 Going on 30 though. 30 Going, yeah, I like that movie, but it was cute. Irma Ruffalo, just cutesy, you know, cutesy. That's third tier. That's you're not quite bummy. You just Springer was a made man. You go from the mayor and then you host a show that becomes a way of life, and then they make movies and stuff about you, and he flipped the culture. And he was doing that in the 90s before like everything you see today, where everybody's all fluid and doing what they want. He was like almost like a groundbreaker. Yeah. Jerry's a made man. That was a made dude. He changed the course of TV. Everything you see in social media with people out and people are saying, I'm doing this or doing that. Jerry was doing it. Jerry was must see TV. I mean, he had when your bodyguard can get his own show and go into syndication, you gangster. Jerry was gangster with it. Jerry was big. And that window made him a made man. Yep. Household name. He broke down barriers. You know, it was uncanny. That's a good call there. Cause I never get talked about Jerry enough. I used to watch Jerry. Me and my homeboy used to watch Jerry every night late. If I didn't go to work or go wherever, it was Jerry time. Get you some popcorn and some Kool-Aid. Watch Jerry. He was that dude. Good call. All right. That's good. What else you got? Feel free. I know it's kind of heavy after you mentioned Jerry. Yeah, I ain't got much to say about after Garner. You know, that's why Ben Affleck got with her too, because she was nice American pop princess. Broke Julia Roberts, broke Sandra Bullock, had crossover. Cutesy, but not no depth. Not no actress. Okay, 30 and Newton, I like her image wise, but kind of like I never was because it didn't really go nowhere. I mean, you know, she wasn't gonna get the top black female roles, and it just didn't really go nowhere. Kind of was stagnant. John Goodman, he did what he did. I mean, he was middle of the road. You could say bummy, but he was able to, one of them conservative white boys too. So he kind of worried me the whole thing with Roseanne. So, but he, had it served his wing. He kind of stayed in his lane. Ving Rhames is solid because he did the main thing with the action and all that, but then he does those Arby's commercials, and he's solid. He's solid with them. People watch them things, and Ving is still getting it going with the voiceover work. Got the voice, you know. Not gonna be remembered as a darker version of Van Diesel, if you will. You can put that, you can make that thing. But actually, I liked him in a few movies. I mean, Baby Boy, and then the Florida movie, the one that John Singleton did with the racial learning in Florida. And Ving had some moments. He had some moments. So, but he was solid. But to do the voiceover, Danny Glover is good. Voiceover, versatility, the whole thing with him and Mel Gibson, all that. Buddy Cop, Bud Cop, that whole thing. Danny's done some To Sleep with Anger. Those are movies I like. But he's kind of put in a box though. But you know, Lethal Weapons, all that. For a black dude to have sequels at that time, encountering and hanging, he hung with Gibson, he hung with Pesci and all that, and hold his own. Glover, Glover crossed over without crossing over, if you understand what I mean. Because he's had a lot of movies where he kind of got over, but he didn't really blow up, but it was solid. So I got respect. I've been paying attention to his career. Maury's great. Not the main man Jerry was. Everybody had the daddy. The only thing with Maury is because that stuff got kind of old. Whereas Jerry was like putting a freshness on you, you know. Maury almost, but not quite like Jerry. Jerry was bigger. That's the only reason why I say from one for main man to one great. But I put Maury in the great segment because he definitely tapped into a culture. But Jerry was Jerry was big. America's Pop Princess Julia Roberts, I would say steady hand. Okay, we can do that. We go back over other people. Let me write that down. Steady hand to acting. Um, Julia, superstar, superstar. Um, because now I'm not gonna say a made woman because she ain't Meryl Streep, but she's superstar in that pop princess thing, but she made it cool. She was that one that blew that up for the ones like a Bullock to come after her and these others. And she definitely was America's sweetheart. I mean, if you can turn tricks as an actress, a pretty woman, and make that thing lovable and culturable, she definitely got over. And then she Pelican Brief. She had some movies I like. Not again. She kind of did it on her own terms, and she was kind of like the Britney Spears, the white girls acting because she was a movement. So by her being a movement, I got to give her a pass. That's not saying she was a great talent per se, but she was a movement. Sinbad, the good Negro after between Bill Cosby and Steve Harvey and all that. I would say Sinbad as an all around entertainer was solid. Underrated in Resurrection Boulevard because he actually did a good job in it. His movies were, you know, but different world, stand all that. Sinbad was able to be all around entertainer. So I have to say he was a solid because he didn't go he and I don't think I don't want to say I wouldn't say a bum because I never thought of him like he was some deep thespian actor or not, but he had a colorful personality and he definitely blended in well, real well. I got respect for Sinbad. So he's solid. Tim Allen, um, I think it was one trick pony. You know, I mean, he had a TV show, but I didn't think of him as somebody that I debated. He pretty much had a pretty much all shucks, middle of the road gig. They got him over. So I just kind of look at him. I don't really look at Tim Allen that deep. Dr. Phil is a fraud, but yeah, yeah, fraud. And like he's some deep thinker. I mean, like if you call yourself Dr. Phil, why don't you call yourself like Dr. Phil Donahue? I don't really get the depths of him, and I don't get the Oprah. He got Oprah for that, I guess, for the beef or something, because that's what that whole thing was when he met in Texas, and he got hooked up. But I don't see the depths with him at all. I think of him as a fraud, like never was. Same thing with the rest of them too. Dr. Oz, old creepy looking dude, like he gonna be on one of them bot you up on the table, like he'll do a Dr. Kevorkian or something on you. I don't see nothing special about that turkey. Those crazy looking eyebrows. He thought he was gonna run for office. No one's gonna touch him. And he's kind of misleading with his information that he gives, so I don't really trust him. Jay Elliott was interesting for about 14 minutes. Then on the 15th minute, when she wasn't about reparations, she goes back into her clan hood outfit. I got no use for her. She talks a lot of game, and then she couldn't back it up. So I got no use for that turkey. Kelsey Grammer is a good, strong businessman. He's a perv though, but that's another story, another video. Um, you could say bummy because he didn't really expound on what he had, you know, and could have been more? Probably. Pat Sajak, I like Sajak, but to me, he's a never was. His nighttime show sucked. He's good on Wheel of Fortune, but I just don't really feel that he really goes anywhere one way or the other. I mean, it's all right. It's game show. He's not a distinctive game show host. He's a smart businessman. He's astute. However, you're not going to mistake him for Bob Barker, or you're not even going to mistake him for Drew Carey, who flipped his swig and got some personality. Pat Sajak is pretty straightforward dude. So it's not like it's so distinctive, but he worked out well for the show. But Vanna White was bigger than him too. So eh. Miley Cyrus, she's a hustler. Not the most talented artist by no stretch, but the Hannah Montana making that whole thing work. She's a hustler. She's a hustler. Just like her daddy. They hustle marginal talents who, you know, made themselves a solid. I mean, she twerks with nobody on Robin Thicke, and that got more attention than Thicke. So what does that tell you? And Thicke was supposed to be the one with the talent and a hit song. I already did Gary Owen. To me, he was really a never was. I know what Cat Williams said, but you're a white boy. You got some jokes. You gotta have something by now. You know. Charlie Rose was broke worthy of being on 60 Minutes on the week on like on a second edition. Uh, he was okay. I mean, he could articulate, but hearing that he's a perv is more intriguing than what he present himself on TV. Because I can imagine him running a woman down the street, like that. So that was the Charlie actually you want to see. But he was kind of dry, but he worked it for PBS. And again, I can't go by PBS because they don't really have a lot of personality there. Harris Smiley, Tavis came a long way, but I would say a solid, a solid, a solid. Made himself into a solid. He was never going to be crossover like Brian Gumbo, and I don't think he had the presentations of of Gordon who was on there. But I think he was solid. I think he was solid. I think he definitely stepped his game up as time went on, and he definitely, you know, had enough to connect. All James Brown is legit on NFL Fox as a commentator. He knows his stuff. I mean, he's articulate. He fits himself in. He's not there by accident. Um, he's a legit. Howie Long, conservative vibe on there. I mean, I say solid because I'm gonna tell you why. Sports commentators, if they're ingrained on a network for a long time, they obviously have to fit because everyone gets scanned and watched and checked and picked and prodded. So if you suck, you saw what happened with Tony Romo and Phil Simms. I ain't got to tell you that. So they don't put you on the camera time if you a bum. They're not gonna tolerate mediocrity. The days of letting you be drunk like Pat Summerall with John Madden is long gone. So you gotta be able to articulate and have something. So they do their job. They're cool and they're cool. He shoots straight on there. He's made for TV in any capacity he does. He's made for TV. Thoughts and prayers are with his daughter too, because there was something that happened recently. Yeah, I got respect for him like that. He's made himself into a well-rounded post jock, so I respect him. Pat Summerall was drunk because he'd be with John Madden with John Madden up there eating turkey neck and gizzards and all kinds of stuff. Pat Summerall be toasting like, here goes the kick right here, and he'd be slurring. Pat Summerall ended up being like Frank Sinatra. He was the one too many. It was a very good year when boys were boys and girls were girls and blooms were blooms. And that's how he was. But he never got called out on it because back then, him and Madden were magic. He wouldn't make it today. Not slurring words and being all drunk on TV, but that was a different era. Again, you can't compare the then and the now because they run cats off for a lot less than they did back then. Unless, of course, you happen to catch on. Now, be honest with you, if you got to sit there and watch some whack game and some boring butt teams, you need to be drunk or high. They should give you all the booze you want. You do need the rat pack. You need the bar set up. If I got to sit there and watch some of them Monday night football games or them Thursday night games, you do need to be lit on something. He did. That was a sack. That was good. And Madden be correcting him because he knew he was toe up. They let Pat Summerall slur. Yeah, his eyes was all shot. "Uh," But that became the norm. You know, like I said, that was a different day and time. Different day and time. Just like when Howard Cosell used to talk all crazy, and Cosell hated most of the people he had in that booth with him. He respected Frank Gifford, but other ones he thought were clowns and buffoons. So he had but that was a different day and time. You can't compare the two. You can't. You just can't. It's a different way they go about it now. I ain't lying. If you watch that old footage, you know what I'm talking about. I was just waiting for him to sing Sinatra's "It was a very good year for boys and girls and I was just waiting for him to start breaking out because I used to crack up because it got really bad when he got older, and John Madden be up there trying to tear up a rib sandwich. That's all Madden was caring about. He watched them games. Yeah, because they be like all on the sidelines, and that the cheerleaders or Taylor Swift, they paying the audience to tell sort of say, that girl needs some meat on her bones. Oh, Travis Kelsey, boy, you been lucky I ain't out there. Because Pat Summer used to be a good player too when he played back in his day. He was actually a good player. He was a kicker. He was actually good. So I do something with that girl. I show her something. You would love it if a white dude got like an Uncle Woodrow moment. That would be hilarious. Can you imagine if Summer and Man were black? They never did do no. They did a routine of that. Would been hilarious. You could see John Madden sitting up there with eating ribs and drinking all kinds of coke and bottle. And Summer would be like, pass the yak, pass the Cavassier. It'd be like Puffy, Buster Rhymes, and them doing pass the Cavassier with Pharrell. Be the remix. Be hilarious. Be hilarious. I like what we did today. We really went into a whole different territory here because this was hilarious. I really like it today. This was fun. It was a fun. We're from starting off talking about She to Pat Summer and John Madden. This is hilarious. But yeah, it would be. People don't have it like that no more. Mm-mm. But I'm not gonna lie. Oh yeah, oh yeah. But it was like that back then. That's why, like, I heard about like Chris Cuomo be all old booty bandit, getting his fleece Johnson on, squeezing. Yeah, I ain't lying. Different day and time. But you see, they still doing it. It's just that they selective with who they want to pick on. They never went after Matt Lauer. Matt Lauer used to lock chicks in the office. He had that safety button. He like, he's like, I can't get out. Lock your butt in and squeeze. And Katie Couric said that he slapped them cheeks, and she said, "Oh, he was like a brother to me." I'm like, "Rump row, oh, oh." I don't make this stuff up. So yeah, yeah. Scooby Doo, like and if you know me, Scooby's one of my favorite characters. That's why I rock that orange too, because that's Scooby Doo. I'm about that Scooby Doo thing, so I'm about that. So it's one of them things that I'm about that thing with that. So that was what's going on with all that. Kid you not, rump road for real. So you know, I kid you not. Yeah, she really don't and he's not even the scariest brother she could mess with. It's not even like he black, but he's like almost like a tan brother. He's like one of them brothers that he's like, "Yes, I'm a brother. You know it. I like you, girl. Let me slap it, girl." But he's generic, it's kind of like that Tim Meadows thing, like that thing. And she's scared because then white folks showing how hateful they are. So I'm like, oh, whoa. What if Amy Robach had a mess with someone who looked like Seal, or she'd have mess with a Mike Tyson looking brother, or George Foreman, but like a brother, you know what I mean? Because TJ, he one of them Pop Tart brothers, one of them toasty tart brothers, and they thinking they got it bad. Things like he act like TJ got this wide afro, and he's like, "That's my woman over there, and you know I got this. That's mine." You know, no one is looking at TJ Holmes like that. Now she messed with Larry Holmes. There you go. Yeah. Now Denzel's cosmopolitan. Denzel got enough savoir faire that it would work because he keeps his business low and he's kind of astute. It's not going to. It would work. You can be a hip upscale brother and dignified and yet, have your things with you where, you know, but you know. But yeah, Amy Robach messes with Booger McFarlane. That'd be something. Or you know, and Shannon Sharp and her would actually work. Yeah, that would work. Stephen A. Smith, that would work. Barry and her would work too, because Barry ain't threatening like in that context. There's got to be a certain type of Negro she would mess with. She ain't gonna mess with no Sheffield. Sheffield keeps his business low. Or there's certain type of brothers, you know, you know. So it's a certain type of brother. Now, because Barry's situation with his, Barry is not keep his business is low, and it wouldn't really. I mean, she would see the hate mail, but they wouldn't. It wouldn't mesh though. It wouldn't mesh though. She's got a certain type of Negro that she go for. You ain't got that to worry about. TJ was just the right type. Nice, stiff, you know, not too much of a threat. But Daryl Strawberry, what about him? Straw wouldn't mess with her. Straw wouldn't mess with her. Straw wouldn't mess with a chick that he would consider kind of cornball. So, so, so now that's Straw. Straw had white chicks look like that without trying. See, for her, this is like getting into the Black Olympics. There's a difference. you know. So that's all. So that's all I'm gonna say with that. So okay. But anyway, I don't really pay a lot of her, I think like, she's decent looking chick, you know, very, around typical, Barbie type. This is uncharted territory for her. She's probably like, oh, they don't like me. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh no, pull my hair out. Oh no. So she's getting a dose of how it is out here in this world. So that's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, so I got a couple minutes. I gotta get ready to get in this bathroom, get myself together. I gotta freshen up, you know. It's been a real stone gas. Uh no, he ain't. No, he ain't. Cause DiMaggio was a player. Babe Ruth was more of a player, but Ruth was a mackin'. Reggie Jackson was mackin'. Um there's a few. He was notorious, but he ain't even the most notorious Yankee who did it. Just saying. So no, you play for the Yankees and you great. You had crazy access. So just saying. So so you'd be surprised. But Babe Ruth spent all his time out there in them streets. He was for the streets. So just saying. It was but that's what's up. A lot of them in there though, but I'm sure there's a lot of cats in Major League Baseball who got around. I'm quite sure of it. So, you know, you'd be surprised. I heard about Cal Ripken Jr. That was on the low low back in the day, but he was seen as all pious and all American. So anyway, we can do another topic about that though. You can speculate. There's a lot of guys who got around. You know, Strawberry was freaky too. Oh yeah, Strawberry talked about it because it was in that book. And Conseco, don't forget them two. So Jeter ain't quite seen them cats. Those cats were, you know, yeah. Yeah, them two, Conseco and Strawberry, got G to beat. Especially, yeah, them two. There you go. You mentioned it. I had to bring them up. So that's what's up. So, and those are just the ones that I know. I'm sure there was a lot more cats that did the business. I'm sure, quite sure of it. So, but anyway, I'm gonna get ready to make that move. And this was great. I had a great time, a lot of laughs, a lot of names. We got to keep this going too. So bring it on tomorrow, and we're gonna do it again. And like them videos will come out, and I am gonna do that about Magic Johnson and B Enemy because that's a great one. Because he definitely shuffled. Because if Dan the Mighty Quinn is as good as it gets for Washington, that's embarrassing. That's an insult after all the promises, and they're not gonna land anybody that's going because Sam Howell is not the answer. He's a third tier quarterback at best, who's really a second tier. Who's they making him out to be a first tier, but he misses too many reads, too many turnovers, too many bad INTs, and playing 17 points a game with Ron Rivera. I don't know how they're going to get better. And Chase Young is in the Super Bowl, so they did him a big. They gave him a big justice by getting him up out of there. But really, I don't know what they're going to do with that. So anyway, um, that's my thoughts and takes on that. We will definitely address more of this, and I will stay tuned more with the news that I find out about. I'm definitely going to address that though. But anyway, peace the best. Stay warm, stay safe, stay cool. Appreciate everybody that came through. Appreciate the words, the conversation, the laughs, the memories. Always, always on the one. Always the best. The next time we catch you, wishing you the best. Stay up. Appreciate you all. Thank you for the support. We're going to do it again. I'm out. Peace.